Alright, in this lesson we're looking at forecasting, aka predicting the future or the past using a trend line. So this we can do and we have done before. If we have a linear trend in our data, we can use the regression line to make predictions. So this data, for example, is number of schools in Victoria for the years. And simply we just go into our CAS, put them in our CAS, we can find a time series plot, and just fitting a regression line will give us an equation that we can use to make predictions. Now obviously our equations in terms of x and y, you need to know what x and y are, so y is over here, obviously x is over here. And putting x and y into context, we can come to this equation over here, that number of schools in Victoria will equal this minus this times year. So that's all done on the CAS. And after we have our equation, we can use it to make some predictions. First, we can find out what the slope is representing. So the slope is always the one that's next to your x being the year here. This is the slope. You do need to take account the operation in front of the slope, if it's negative or positive. So in this case it's negative, so the slope is going down, and it's going down every time your x value goes up by 1. So every time this goes up by 1, it's going to go down by this much. So putting that into context, in this case, on average, the number of schools decreases by this much for every year that goes up. Now, we've done this before. Now, if we're given a number to put in our data, so in this case, it says to make prediction for 2016. And our data starts in 1981, so that being 1, we need to just figure out where 2016 is, and that's 36 years past that. So we just use 36 and we put it into where we see year, and that's going to give us the prediction for that. Now that's stuff we've done before. Now we are going to just add another step onto this and taking seasonality into account when we're making our predictions. Now, last lesson we looked at how to deseasonalize data, and if we use deseasonal data to make predictions, we need to make sure that we turn it back into, or a better way of saying is re-seasonalize the data before we make our predictions. So looking at an example here, simply to deseasonalize the data, all you need to do, as you remember from last lesson, that was the formula we were following. All you're doing is this divided by this, and that deseasonalizes data, and you can get all of these values once you do it for every single one of them. And then using this and the time and putting it into the CAS and find a regression line, we can find this equation here, where not just sales, but deseasonalized sales equals these values. Now, if we're asked to make a prediction for the 15th month, we obviously just put 15 in there, and then we get a value out of it. But again, that is deseasonalized sales. So if we want to make prediction about the actual number of sales, we need to re-seasonalize the data by simply timesing the seasonal index. So we're making prediction about March at the moment. So seasonal index for March is 1.1. So we times that on top of the prediction that we made. So prediction that we made, we times the seasonal index, and then that's going to give us the actual value. We're timesing 1000 here as well, only because the sales was in thousands.